We want revolution.
Bookmark words on standby.
Log online, fan page loaded and ready.
Player stats, loaded. Health check, go.
Weapons check. Eyes check, complete.
We have launched for the Informant podcast in 5, 4, 3, 2, 1.
All right, welcome to the Informant podcast. I'm Pistol Pete from Spockholm, and tonight I have with me the Mafia Wars loot lady, Jennifer. Jana is taking the evening off. Chester is living his life. What's going
I
on,
worry
Jay?
Jana's gonna follow his lead.
Yeah, she seems like she's enjoying real life too much.
Yeah, she's been seems happier and keeps telling us the real life things she's doing, and it just seems Mafia Wars is becoming less of a part of her life.
Yeah.
It's kind of inspiring.
Yep.
Maybe I should do that.
Wouldn't hurt. Any of us take a break, I suppose.
Yeah, just to be more in moderation. And this whole property thing is really getting to me because I've tried and I can't do it. I cannot make 3 requests a day.
Yeah.
I've even set alarms and they go off and I just turn them off because I'm sleeping.
Well, what level are you at now?
I'm 12.
Oh, okay.
And I'm worried I won't make it. There's only 7 more days, and the last 3 levels, you need a lot of parts.
Yeah, that's true. I'm at 9, I think. I'm coming up on 10, and if I get to 11, I'll quit.
Yeah.
If I don't make it to 11, I don't care. I lost. I know it's tough for you because you've basically kept them all fully upgraded the whole time on every other one to 15, but I lost interest in it a long time ago because the reality was you can't do it.
Right, and I'm considering because I really don't want to spend reward points to have it upgraded. So I think I'm just going to see where I am and then maybe take a stance of, okay, this is going to be the one property that does it for me.
Yep.
And it could snowball. I could start losing interest in everything else too because of it.
That is a side effect, and that's what it's kind of become for me to a certain extent, especially with the properties. I have no desire to finish it anymore.
Yeah, and that kind of happened with Jana. She didn't finish one of the secret districts a long time ago.
Right.
And she doesn't try to finish everything now. She doesn't care.
Yep. And that's a Zynga mistake there.
It is.
You take what people like about the game and the completionists, and then you basically prevent them from ever being completionists. Then you take away their spirit, and that's kind of what they did.
Well, and I don't know if you know who Toko is, but he's a big-time collector, and he actually started a blog, and he would list all the loot items and mistakes, and it's a nice little, it's more of a website because he doesn't make blog posts, but it's all about the loot. And he's an admin in my family, and he made a post in our admin room that it was the very first collector's edition item he missed, and he said the game's not fun anymore, and he's just not going to do it anymore.
Yep.
He's still going to play the game, but he just said screw it with the collecting and all that.
I hear him. And he's not the only one.
Yeah, it's just happening. And then the next step, I think, is people quit.
Yep. No, I'm not quitting anytime soon. Although baseball season's here, so I'm outside more. I got sunburned like a red lobster. Really bad.
A Spock lobster.
I was a Spock lobster. Got my tribbles fried.
That's too much information.
Yeah. I was burnt bad. I mean, I was like, you know how like you get sunburned and you're like sick? You don't feel like you can eat and all kinds of stuff? Have you ever had that happen?
No.
You live in the desert. Okay, maybe you know somebody that's had that happen. Do you guys not like, you must wear sunscreen like all the time.
I never go outside during the day.
Okay, that'll do it.
I'm the only pasty person in Las Vegas.
Because that's the only thing, man. You get burnt sometimes and you get sick. That's what
I think I know what you mean.
Yeah. So anyway, that was my thing because we had baseball practice and we were just out there for 3.5 hours of baseball, and oh man, I was toasty. So anyway,
we're glad you could grace us with your.
I'm feeling much better now, actually. So, well, I guess let's see. In Spockholm, there's not too much.
You didn't let me ask you.
What's that?
You didn't let me ask you.
Well, I didn't know if you were going to ask, so I was going to just take the lead. Oh, okay. Well, Go ahead.
Pete, what's going on in Stockholm?
Well, as a matter of fact, in the toolbar, Ike is going to add an option to actually confirm whether or not you want to actually accept a battle request.
From the ZMC?
Yes.
Oh, that's nice.
So we'll beat Zynga to the punch, unless they beat us to the punch and get it there before we do. But we had an incident in our family where I was clicking through my ZMC instead of using the gift collector, and when I clicked on the battle, I started a battle with the Muppets, and the Muppets.
That's your ass.
We got our asses kicked, literally, and it was because we didn't have half of our family wasn't ready, and it was a big mess. And anyway, so I took a lot of crap for starting a war that we weren't ready for, and whatever else. And so Ike was talking about the idea of adding an option to the toolbar that would actually put the confirmation in place to thereby save us from having that happen. So
that happens to a lot of families.
I know, and that's why we think it should be something that's just in game. But if they don't get around to it, then we'll at least supplement for the benefit of the game players to make that happen.
That would be really nice. I know it happened to us once too, and it's not only do you go through the ordeal of getting your ass kicked, then you go through the drama of, because there's always going to be one or two people that think you did it on purpose.
Right.
Why didn't anyone tell me? We weren't ready.
Well,
it's like, well, screen jumping in the ZMC. I'm sorry.
Yeah, that's exactly what happened. Yeah. So I said, it was my fault. My bad. My bad.
If you don't like it, there's a little X button.
I said, the ZMC jumped on me, and it wasn't my fault. And that's exactly what happened. So, but then other than that, we've not got much going on in the way of Stockholm. But we've had a lot of discussions in PAC, and obviously some of the finalized conversations have been published on the blog at Zynga, and it's raised some controversy in the community and so on and so forth. And so I figured we'd probably spend some time talking about that a little bit. A lot of it was revolving around the concept of bots and. Do
you want me to read their official stance?
Yeah, why don't you go ahead and do that?
Okay, this is from Zynga, not us. It's just odd that people on the PAC are being attacked for this, and it has nothing to do with us. This is Zynga's words, not ours. But their official stand against botting. Botting strains the servers and spoils the experience of other players. Any script which interferes with the normal gameplay is a bot, and botting is a Zynga TOS violation. That's all they said about it.
Yep.
But I think you can read into that and kind of understand what they're trying to say.
Right. There's lots of rooms for interpretation. There's first the one that says, okay, so if I do a script that's mimicking normal behavior, then it's okay. Which, according to Zynga, is still not okay. Then you can go the other route and say they're only looking for scripts that are abusive, which is also not exactly the truth. They have the right as an organization and as a company to choose who and, what kind of things they want to allow happen against their servers. It seems to me that one of the targets that keeps getting brought up in conversation is the Gift Blaster, because the Gift Blaster has the capability to send 50 requests in a single instance of gifts to your family. Now, let's back up and talk about this one a little bit. This particular tool is actually available in the game. You can go to your gifting, and you can go ahead and choose 50 people to send gifts to and send it all in one shot. The only thing that this tool does that's different than the human is there's a minor gap of time between each of those 50 send requests. So what we're going to do at Stockholm is we're going to go ahead and put in a little bit more of a delayed timer between each one, which will mimic the effect of a human being switching back to their gifts page, picking the next 50 people, and then going ahead and sending the next batch. But the concept of sending gifts through the game at 50 at a time it's a game feature. We haven't created a feature that doesn't already exist. And I think there's a lot of confusion over that.
There is, and there's even, and this isn't on all accounts, but it's on most of them now. There's a button that you don't have to, it'll pick the 50 people and send it.
Right.
So they do the same thing in their game. just like with that gifting thing they made,
Right. So
like the chucker.
yeah.
But it was an in-game one.
Right. So this is not something we've created and we've tried to hack, if you will, the servers into doing something that they weren't designed to do. We've just, once again, made the instrument a little bit easier to use for the general public. But any human being can do the same thing. Turn around, pick 50 people, click send. Click the next 50 people, click send. Click the next button, click send. I mean, click, click, click is what this game does, and that's where, scripts in general help out with that. But there's no safe script. There's no, one script, maybe with the exception of Switch, because it never touches Zynga servers, that could be considered a safe script. But any of the other scripts that are out there, no matter who the script writer is potentially at risk, depending on what happens with your account and the amount of activity that is conveyed to the servers as a result of it. No one person can claim that their scripts are 100% safe. They'll always be used at your own risk. And that's unfortunate. I think that there's ways to address that for the scripting community to make more scripts that are safe in Zynga's eyes. But the reality is no one can claim that, because there's many out there that do background requests and calls for fighting or, while other things are going on, and that's not mimicking a human. Unless you have two tabs open and you're doing the same thing as a human being. There's potential in this particular botting ban that is being discussed, that human beings, whether or not they've ever touched a script, could potentially end up seeing warning messages. Will it happen a lot? No, but there is a possibility. You take someone that clicks really fast and is in the middle of a war and whatever else, they could be susceptible to the same botting triggers that a script could end up doing on the game. So it's going to be a hard one for Zynga to manage and specifically get it under control. I've said before, and I'll say it again, and that that this is something I think they're going to constantly be chasing their tail with. There's a lot of players out there that mod existing scripts and do what they want with them beyond the levels of control that are established when they release. There's people that aren't even publicly known to Zynga, as far as scripters go, that are writing stuff that are significantly more aggressive. Any script out there that has the capability to basically do everything for you has the capability to, turn an account into running on its own, get to a certain point, and then theoretically be available for sale. And that's something else that they want to try to, squash. But there's still not there's still the same thing. A human being could do the same thing. So I don't know where it's all going to end up.
Human beings need to sleep too, and I think that's one thing.
Well, that's true. I mean, you're not going to build up, 100,000 accounts, manually as a human being. I mean, that's just not practical. I don't care who you are and, how much you don't sleep. You're not going to be able to do that.
Mike Nestor can't even do that.
But, that's something that, there's, any script that basically does everything for you will have the capability to do, to help you accomplish that goal. Whether or not it's intended by the script writers or not is another question entirely, but that's a reality of it. So, I don't know. I'm not sure where it's all going to go. I just, I've always hoped that, that they would listen to the pleas of the community that, some automation is necessary. I've made arguments that, the job buttons maybe need to have a drop down with the number of jobs that you can potentially do and then do them all in one shot. But, they have concerns that if they get too automated with it, then people will walk away from the game and go, well, wait a minute, this is kind of boring. It's doing 90% of the job for me. But I think they kind of miss that is part of why people turn to scripts to begin with, is that they don't want to be doing those kinds of actions, significantly day in, day out. And with so much to do in the game, from robbing and jobbing and fighting and, family progression to whatever the next thing is, properties and everything, there has to be some kind of, help, and in our particular case, we've tried to create individual tools that help with that. And that's, the way we'll continue to go forward. We're here for the community, regardless of what others think. We are here as players of the game. Some of us have spent money on the game, some haven't. And, we want the same things. to challenge us and say that we have no interest or